Hi there, welcome to another episode of Get Gardening. In today's episode I'm going to be deadheading roses. So it is now officially summer and it's definitely the time of year when you need to make sure you're staying on top of your deadheading. Last night it rained a lot and my delphiniums, as you can see behind me, they were staked but apparently not well enough, and instead of being upright they are now weeping delphiniums, and I am loath to deadhead them. But today I'm going to go ahead and show you how I deadhead my roses, so I'm going to take you there and get to it. So ever since I started gardening, I've always seemed to have grown roses, and it's something that my mother and my grandmother have grown, and so I've sort of inherited the rose bug, although I must say lately I'm starting to lose my fervor and my desire to grow roses. They seem to be more difficult than they're worth. But here's a beautiful pink one, voluptuous, it's blooming. You can see I have it in front of status. I love how the pink is echoed by this lightness of the status. But I'm going to show you how I deadhead my roses. So, as you can see, I have a rose here that has blossoms that have been spent. And you can see that they are starting to show signs of new growth. And this is where you would go ahead and deadhead your plant to. So I would go ahead and take it all the way back to this point here where there's a new shoot coming. This new shoot is going to have new buds, and it's going to go ahead and give us more flowers and more growth. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I get rid of that. And on a bud like this, where you can see there's some that are still opening but this one's done, I could go ahead and just cut that one off. Now, some of my roses though, they don't have new growth coming. And as you can see on this one here, I've got different kinds of leaves. Behind the bud there's this leaf here that's a 3. You can see 1, 2, 3. Or you can see further down, this is a 5 leaf. So there's 5 leaves. And if you go ahead and you cut it back to the 5, you're going to get stronger growth and more, like a larger flower. So that's where I would make my cut for that instead of the 3. I have done it where I cut back to the 3 and it does still grow, but I have noticed that your flowers tend to be smaller and the growth tends to be weaker if you cut it at a 3. So it's really important to keep on deadheading your flowers. So this one here, you can see there's a spot here where there's a 3 leaf and then there's a 5 leaf, and I would go ahead and take it back to the 5 leaf. If you don't deadhead your roses, they're going to develop hips, and that's putting energy into the seeds, and that's not what I want. I want flowers in my garden, not rose hips at the moment. Maybe in fall I might leave some, but that's pretty much how I deadhead them, and then they keep setting up new growth and more flowers. So I hope if you have roses, you make sure you're out there deadheading them. Some roses only bloom once and then they're done. If you have that kind of rose, I'll show you. I have one over here that's just like that. This rose that I have right here at the corner of my garden is one that blooms pretty much once and then it doesn't bloom anymore. So I've actually left the hips on the rose, so in autumn they'll develop a nice beautiful color to it, and I'd rather have that than nothing. So if your rose is one that only blooms once and it doesn't bloom anymore, then I would suggest going ahead and leaving the hips. It doesn't seem to harm the growth of the plant at all. But if you have a rose that flowers more than once, it is definitely worth deadheading them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you like and subscribe. And until next time, I hope you're able to get out there and get gardening.